Hey guys, this is Sos, and I'm finally back from one of the best vacations ever. We went to some of the most beautiful beaches in Europe and it really inspired me to paint. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time in Greece, so I just took a lot of reference photos for me to use in the future, and on the plane back I was already planning my next project where I was going to paint all these amazing views, or at least a very small portion of them. And yeah, that's what this video is all about. It's probably going to be very long because I'm not even half done with my project, so there will be a part 2. Also, I completely ran out of space on both my computer and my iPad while filming this, so yeah, I will need a part 2. And probably in the next part I'm going to use different materials. In this video I will be using acrylics. So let's begin, shall we? In the first 2 sketches I'm just applying acrylics and I'm not thinking a lot about value. I'm just trying to copy the shades that I see on the screen, and I'm also trying to be a little bit more impressionistic. So yeah, for this sketch I struggled a lot with the paint itself. Now, I haven't worked much with acrylics and I completely forgot how this paint behaves. Before going on vacation to Greece, I was experimenting a lot with gouache, and one of the things that I noticed with gouache was that it was very easily reactivated and lifted even after it seemed dried. And I didn't really like this feature, so I thought about it and I was like, yeah, acrylic doesn't do that. Like, acrylic, once it dries you can't lift it, so maybe I should like try and paint more with acrylic as my quick medium. So I went on Jackson's Art and I got myself quite a few tubes, and they were having a sale on acrylic, so I was really lucky, I guess. And I got a lot of tubes, and I didn't get like okay, the tubes, they had like really weird names because they're student grade and they don't really use real pigments, so you don't get like cadmium yellow or something like that. They all have like weird names, and I had to pick without really knowing what I was picking, and I had no idea how the paint would behave. So sometimes I would just like use a paint and it would give me a very muddy color that I didn't like. I fixed this problem in the future, but the first 2 sketches, they were kind of bad. I didn't notice, like, I wasn't paying attention to values that much. I was just like trying to understand what the paint does and how it behaves. So these are not very good, and I understood that maybe like just painting straight away with materials you're not very familiar with probably wasn't the best idea to succeed. So yeah, I kind of improved in my next one. Also, I forgot to mention the way I work with my reference photos. I upload all of them on Photoshop, and then I'm playing a lot with their saturation and with stuff like that. But I'm not applying the new high saturation. I just see how the shadows goes into purple and how the light goes into orange, and I do want to exaggerate and implicate it on my paintings. So for me, I was like constantly changing the saturation and constantly changing the contrast to see the picture better, if that makes sense. I'm also, to see the values, I sometimes turn the picture black and white, and that will help you to see values. I'm not sure how good this method is because you don't want to be dependent on Photoshop when you paint, but I think it's probably better to check yourself when you're training your eye to see these kind of things automatically. after I was done with the painting, I asked myself, what could I do to actually make it better? And one of the problems was values. I had a lot of problems, but I feel like values is one of the bigger ones. So I decided to paint the same scenes but in black and white. And because I didn't want to render too much, because the main purpose was understanding values and not rendering, so I limited myself to approximately 30 minutes for each painting. And then I realized I didn't have any black acrylics, so I mixed my black using Van Dyke Brown and Ultramarine Blue. Now I'm using Amsterdam by Talents acrylics, and this is like a student grade acrylic. And I really dislike their ultramarine. It's very runny and it feels more like, I don't know, it's very watery. And I prefer paint that is a little bit more pasty, like it has some body to it. I know there's such thing as heavy body acrylics, but I might consider getting some in the future if I'll feel like I enjoy acrylics enough to invest in this paint. By the way, if you want to learn how to paint and you want to improve your skills, this is definitely the #1 exercise you should do, because when you're painting, you're solving a lot of problems, and one of the biggest problems is actually value. So if you want to be better with colors, you have to understand value first. So solve this problem before you try to solve the colored problem, which is even more complicated. So even people like Nathan Folks and all those great artists, the first thing they always do is paint in black and white. So yeah, please do this exercise a lot. It's really helpful, and it helped me in my next 2 paintings. So these are the last 2 paintings that I'm going to do for this video, and as you can see, these are still the same landscapes as I did before, because after I was done with the value study, I wanted to try and see if the value study improves my vision of color, I would say, on this piece. It was kind of challenging because I forgot to look at the values from time to time, and I was really tempted just to paint from my reference photo. But yeah, occasionally when I started like looking at the reference, the process became much easier and there were less problems to solve at the same time. Like when you're painting, you're doing a lot of problem solving, and if you solved part of your problem before, like ahead of the painting, then kind of frees your mind to do a little better. Yeah, so basically I'm just painting quite the same thing over again, and that's what you do if you want to improve. Like, you have to analyze what you're doing, and sometimes you have to repeat the same thing many times until you get it more or less right. So I'm actually not very happy with the results. I think these are better than the first sketches, but the difference is not that amazing. By the way, do you remember me complaining about not knowing what paints I'm using, what colors behave how? So basically, before starting these 2 sketches, I did swatches of all the paints, and I limited my palette to the paints that I thought would fit this drawing. So I was left with just a few yellows, a few reds and blues and greens and brown, and then I just removed the rest of the paints that I wasn't going to use. And yeah, I tried to limit myself, and I think I ended up with less muddy colors than in my previous sketch. Of course, I'm still learning and there are a lot of things to improve in here because I'm not very happy with the results, but you know, my project is only starting and I'll have a lot more opportunities to improve and try different mediums and check more what process suits me. I would like to thank you guys for watching my video. Please, if you like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, support me if you can. That would really help. I'm working hard on those videos, and if you have any suggestions or anything you would like to see in my next video, please feel free to comment in the comment section. Also, I'm uploading a video every Friday, and hopefully you will follow me and enjoy what I'm doing because I'm trying hard and I think that I'm improving. So yeah, give me a try. I promise to be good. This is the end of the voiceover. I hope you enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of the footage. I'll see you next time, guys, and bye!